Hey, what's up, everybody? It is Sunday, and we do not have a bloodbath. I will take that. So, I mean, previous Sundays have been pretty gnarly to the downside, and this Sunday is actually kind of flat to positive. So, pretty much we're up today. So that's a sight for sore eyes, right? So thank God, right? Because every Sunday, man, has just been obliteration. So the fact that this Sunday we're holding up is really good, right? Because usually the weekends, there's not a lot of liquidity. You have thin order books, which oftentimes people don't want to hold trades through the weekend. So they let them go and they'll just get back in later. And then what happens is, you get these big dumps to the downside. So this happened on a Sunday, I believe, and all through, I believe, in this area over here as well. So all these big dumps, I believe a lot of them were on the weekends. So, and this weekend we're just going sideways. So that's exactly what we want to see. So there you go. Look at that right there. Sunday. Look at that big old dump. You could see here's another Sunday right there, big dump. And then here's another Sunday right in there. And then right here was actually Sunday and Monday. But this Sunday right here, we had a massive explosive move to the upside, and that was Trump pump. That was the pump and dump, right? And right over here was another Sunday. So you could see Sundays have been pretty gnarly. So, and today's not over yet, by the way. We could still see some more movement to the downside. Let's check around a little bit. You can see Theta here had a little bit of a dump on this Sunday. So, anyways, Sundays don't really matter too much, right? Or I should say Saturdays and Sundays, because a lot of times you have the futures markets, right? If any big breakdowns happen, a lot of times they'll come back and fill that gap. Doesn't always happen, but a lot of times they do. So, but yeah, nothing's changed. We're basically flagging out here. I see a three-way pullback. 1, 2, 3. I see a little bit of a three-way move here. Not sure if it's going to be a little bigger, right? So we kind of have a diag here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And if that's a diagonal and we have a three-way pullback, then that could be a pretty interesting situation coming back to over $1 at least, probably $1.15. The real thing we need to get above is between $1.30 and $1.50. That's kind of what I'm waiting for, to see if we could get above there. So I think this looks like it potentially has finished right in here, right? So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then this is 1, 2. All of that's 3, 4, and 5. So you're kind of flagging out in here, but a lot of times these come back down and they retest the lows in here before going back up, right? So let's see how this weekend, or how this week plays out. I think this week probably won't be too exciting. I think probably next week will be more exciting. That really depends. Let's see here. So if I draw this out, so just putting it right here, this is next Sunday right here. So that from here to here, that's 1 week. That's not a lot of time for anything, really. So this week could be a down week. We could just be going down all week, right? And then next week, the following week, we start going back up. So we could have a bearish week this week. But some other coins, like let's look at SHIB here. You kind of have a an A, maybe this is a B, and then we come down for a C, right? And that C also could take a little bit of time here. And then, so we basically would have 3 waves up, right? And then you would get 3 waves down, and then you would hopefully get maybe 5 waves up. But for the most part, I think it's pretty much finished here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So it looks good. And we also have bullish divergence, which is good too. So boom and boom. So yeah, I think so far we're looking pretty good for this week. Like I said, we could have a bearish week though. Just, and when I say bearish, I mean just, for example, like look over here. You see how we came down, right? We had 3 waves up, and then we had 3 waves down, and then that's when we went up in 5, right? So we could be somewhere like right in here, right? So let's go back over here. This could be 1, 2, and maybe this week we get a bullish push. We get 3, and then the following week, that's when we get 3 down, right? 1, 2, 3 up, 1, 2, 3 down, 1, 2, 3 up, 1, 2, 3 down, and then go, right? But all in all, I think, you know, unless we get a complete V bottom reversal, which I don't really see any reason why we would, unless we get some kind of announcement or news event, or well, the real big thing is going to be the regulation, right? And I think that's coming soon. The stablecoin bill is going to be important because that's the on and off ramp for crypto. And essentially, if you get that regulated, there's going to be a lot more accessibility for the bigger players. And that's what we want, right? So, I think this is a beautiful 3-wave move to the downside, right? We have a beautiful flat in here, right? You could see this wave and this wave are the same length, right? So it's proportionally perfect, right? It's really, really beautiful. So we have that 3-wave move up, and we have the 3-wave move down, right? So now it's about building a little bit of a base in here. That's why I said maybe this week could be a little bit bearish. Maybe, maybe not, right? Maybe it kind of just chills out a little bit here, right? I mean, we're not going to get any big, massive moves, right? So when I mean bearish or bullish, I mean maybe testing the top of the range, testing the bottom of the range, which could feel very bearish because, you know, to get back to the low, right? That's still, I mean, this range ain't that big, but that's still a 15% dump. I mean, that's a big bloody move if we had to come back down and retest this range. So we're going down, 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 down. Here's the bottom, right? And then we come back up. There's the top. So now we know where the top is and we know where the bottom is. So I'll put a line right there, and I'll put a line right there. So there's our range. This is our range, and that's what we need to fill in, right? So we could come back to the bottom, back to the top, back to the bottom, back to the top, maybe flag out a little bit, then go. That would be a Wyckoff accumulation pattern, something like that. But it's a little bit concerning because, you know, summer's coming up very quickly, and I don't know how well it's going to do. What I think is very, very possible is that summer we have a mid-cycle correction. And you say mid-cycle correction, I thought this was the mid-cycle correction, right? So here's your cycle, here's your mid-cycle correction, and then you go. Yeah, that's true, right? But what I'm saying is, if we can consolidate down here, because we really only have April and May, right? So April, May, we can get back up to the retracement levels. Then we can flag out during the summer, right? And then October, November, December, the bullish season, that's when we get the breakout, right? That's kind of how I see it playing out. But there's another situation when we look at XRP here that says, well, maybe it happens a lot faster, right? So this could be A, B, we have 1, 2, 3, A, B, C, flat 4, or rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways. And then we get the breakout for the 5th wave. And that could end very fast, right? Within a matter of 2 weeks, it could be done. As soon as we get the breakout, though, right? So XRP would be finished, depending where it goes. Let's say it hits up to, we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we head up to, $6, $7. And then we flag out all summer as SHIB, for example, right? Another chart is basically in its reaccumulation area. So let me just put this right here, and you can see right here. Or we could do, we don't have to do SHIB. Maybe let's do, or I'll do SHIB now, and then we'll do a different one later. But you could see XRP is really, really close to a breakout into price discovery. You're right at the top here, right? So we just spent 7 years going sideways in this massive base, massive structure, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we have all of this, number 5. And then you come up to number 6, and now you're right at the peak. And then that final one is that 7th, or this is part of 6 anyway. It just depends when we break out. But yeah, you have rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, breakout. So we're really, 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 really close. Versus something like SHIB, you still have to get all the way back to the top of the range. You still have a lot of resistance ahead, because you have to get through all of these retracement levels, and then you have to get above this double top, and then you have a little bit more to go too. So versus XRP, it's right at the cusp of a big breakout. So as Bitcoin, or as if we can get a big breakout here for XRP, right, that wouldn't mean a breakout for SHIB. That would mean a retrace for SHIB. So then we start to retrace a flag out during the summer inside the retrace levels, right? Work out the retrace. Maybe it doesn't take so long. And then October, November, December, that's when you get that final push, that break, right? And then so here would be flagging out like this, maybe a little bit lower, probably like $5 to $6. Right? And then you get this big move, and then you get that big move up to maybe $9, $10, $11, $12, even up to $15, right? So real quick here, let me put on, let's look at near. So a lot of charts kind of look like this, right? You got a beautiful impulse, you got a 3-way pullback, you got a double top here, right? So if we can get that breakout here, because how does it look for the rest of the market? XRP is so much more mature than the rest of the market, because it took the time last cycle to do the work, right? Versus near went on a massive bull run last cycle. XRP just went into a little retracement. So while the rest of the coins were out drinking and partying and having a good time, XRP was at home doing its homework, working out, doing push-ups, getting smart, reading books. You know what I mean? So while the rest of the market was out getting all wasted. So now the coins that went on a massive run in 21, now they're all hung over. They got a big hangover. They're like, oh man, what happened last night? Meanwhile, XRP, right, was just resting and studying, and now it's like, hey, I'm ready to go. I'm rested up. I've been working out for a long time. I've read all the books. I'm super smart, I'm super strong, let's go, right? While everybody else is kind of like, blah. So XRP is ready to go out into the business world, and the rest of the market's just trying to recover. You see what I mean? So it took the time to build this structure, right? And no fault to Near, because Near is just not that old, right? Let's look at something else. Like if we look at ADA, let's see, you know, ADA right here, same thing with ADA, right? ADA went on a massive run in 21. But XRP did not. It just went into a retrace. It was developing the base that we see today, right? That's why we see XRP performing so well today, is because it was all the pent up demand. It was all basically, it's making up for all of the lost price action, lost time that it went through with the lawsuit and building that structure. So you can see ADA, right, is basically, here's the top of XRP, here's the retrace, and here's where we are. So if I did the same thing here, right, we have 3 circles, right? So XRP has 1 circle, crash, retrace, 2 circles, back down, sideways, reaccumulation, 3 circles. That's how much structure it has. Versus ADA just has 1, 2, not even 3. Not even 2, let alone 3, right? So maybe that's why maybe what we see here is a finishing move, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for XRP. And then during that time, maybe that's when we push up higher for ADA. But it doesn't break the top. It just gets back to the top, right? And then that's when we get a mid-cycle correction. And then that's when ADA goes into reaccumulation, just like back over here. So maybe XRP or ADA is actually right here. So this is where ADA is, right around there. And it still has this big move to come, right? So let me just put this right there, right? So we're down here. We still have to come all the way up here to get back to the top, right? That's one way to look at it, or this is, let's see, this could be a 1, 2, 1, 2, right? 1, 2, 1, 2. And instead of just going up to the top and then having to come down into reaccumulation, then break out, maybe not that deep, maybe instead we have a 1, 2, 1, 2, and we're about to go up in the big third wave, get a 4 and a 5, something like that. And then it kind of tops, and then it kind of comes down. So that's another way we can look at it, something like that. So that's kind of what I'm trying to figure out. Blockchain Backer thinks we're going to finish really quick. It's not going to last until the end of the year, right? That's one theory, and I can see that totally because of how things are playing out with XRP and Bitcoin, especially Bitcoin, right? It's at the end. But there's also another idea here, and let's see. And we look at Theta, for example. So let's see here. Let's look at Theta now. So the one theory, and quite a few people have it, but I just name BCB just because he has a really good thesis on it, and really it basically means we get a 5th wave, right? That's what that means. And then as we get that 5th wave, this is when something like Theta goes into a retrace. Okay, so if the bear market starts right here, then Theta is pretty much, I just don't see how Theta is going to, it's going to have to wait another bear market to get going if that's the case. Or if it's not the case, then we can get up here and flag out in the summer, then have one more big move towards October, November, which gets us up to that $9, $10 area. And then from there, right, that's when the bear market starts. But it doesn't start for Theta because Theta has never been in a bull market, right? It's still in the bear market, right? Theta has not been in a bear market or a bull market. The bear market started here and it's still ongoing, right? So what I'm saying is, if we can get a move back up here, that would mean we have 1, 2, 3 up, 1, 2, 3 down, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up, or it could be 3, but essentially we have a 3-wave move up. Okay, a 3-wave move up isn't going to break us out into all-time highs, most likely, right? So if this is where the XRP bear market starts and where the Bitcoin bear market starts, then that's okay. Because remember, the same thing with XRP. XRP has been in a bear market since 2017. It's still in a bear market until it breaks out into price discovery. Right? Well, it's actually in a bull market per se, because you had a pretty massive move and you're right at the top there. So you could say we're at the start of the bull market, but it's really actually towards the end, right? But it hasn't even begun yet. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it happens fast. So if you look here, right? Look at the difference in the structure. So we have a rise, a crash, a retrace. But we don't have a retrace. We just have a half a retrace, right? So maybe this is 1, 2. Here we go. Here it is right here. Ready? Here we go. We have 1, 2, 3 up, right? And that equals what this did back in 2022, 2021, right? And then we go down, right? So let me do that again. So by the time, if this is 1, 2, 3, then that means we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We break out, we go to $8, $9, $10, right? And then that's when it's over for XRP for a while. And that's when the bear market starts for XRP. But that is also when the bear market continues, not starts, but continues for Theta, in the fact that now we're here, it's the same as up here, and then what happens? We go all the way down, we come all the way down, and then what do? We go sideways, we build a base here, boom, 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 and then that's when we break out into new all-time highs, much later on, maybe 2027, unfortunately, 2028. That's not what I want to hear, right? But that's, definitely a reality that could. I'm not saying this is the main idea, but I am saying that this is kind of what I'm leaning towards right now. So, that still means we could see a $10 Theta. That means you could say, well, that sucks for Theta, but that's good for XRP. And I say no. And you say, well, what do you mean? And I say this right here. Look. If we go up, so we're right at this 89 cent, 90 cent area. If we go all the way up, let's say we go up to, I don't know, $6 up to $8. Well, guess what? That's a 600% up to $10. That's between 600 and 1,000%. Okay? 600 and 1,000% just on the retrace, right? We have 3 waves up, or actually it's more like this: 1, 2, 3 up, 1, 2, 3 down, and then we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you have a 3 up, 3 down, 5 up. That's an A, B, C, and then the C wave gets into the retrace levels, the real retrace levels. That could be a 600% move. That could be 1,000% move. At the same time, XRP, right, looks more bullish. You're right at the top of you're right at the edge here. You have 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go for 5. Big breakout. You're in price discovery. But guess what? That's not, if we hit $10, that's only 340%. Versus Theta, right? Theta, you could get up to, 600, 700, 800, 900% even. I would say more like 600 to 700, right? But if we can get up to that top area up in these retrace levels, right? And then let's look at the retrace levels for a second. Usually you get at least a 618. So let's see. All right, 1 second here. Let me get rid of that. So let me put the retrace fib levels on here. I believe these are on log scale. But even if they're on log scale, you still haven't hit them yet. Yeah, so they're on log scale, and we haven't hit the 618, right? So you're looking at, the 702 at 593. But let's put it on regular scale, right? Because this is the real scale that matters. Depending how you look at it, right? So that, yeah, the 618 is all the way at $10. That's a long way. That's way over 800%, right? Just to get to the 618, you're looking at almost a 10x, guys. Just to get to the retrace, you're gonna make, look, if you hold Theta, or not just, I'm just using Theta as an example, but any chart that looks like Theta, you're gonna make more money in the retrace than you are going in a bull run. And you say, how's that possible? Because look, I'll prove it to you. Look at this. If you take a measurement from here all the way to the top, that retrace level, that's a 10x move right there, 1,000%. Okay. So then if I take that same percentage from here, right, around that $9, $10 area, and I go up 1,000%, what does that give me? That gets me to $100. So what? That's not really, I mean, I think, yeah, we will eventually hit $100 at some point, potentially, maybe in the future, right? But it's going to be tough. So the real target here for Theta, when we look at it, is between, so we have the 1618 at $25. So that's a minimum target that we should hit. Between 22 and 25 is minimum. Then medium should be between 30 to 40. That's medium. And then super extended would be 50 to 60. Well, there you go, right? If we go up from the measurement here all the way up to the 4.236, that's 600%. Well, guess what? You just had 1,000% just to get back to the retrace level. So what I'm saying is, it sucks that maybe Theta is not going to go into price discovery this cycle, right? Because look what it did. It had one of the biggest bull waves of ever. I mean, we were at pennies. We were at 3 cents, and we went all the way up to $16. That's insane. All right. So we had a massive move. So it takes time and time and time for it to correct, for it to reset itself, right? Look how long it took XRP to reset itself, right? So that's what I'm saying. Look at the difference between this structure and this structure. Now, when I go back over here, this is the same structure right there. See that? So there's also another idea though. And that idea is that the retrace already happened, right? Because remember, I started the channel right when we were down here, right at the bottom at 64 cents. And what I said, and the reason I started making the videos, because I got bullish, right? I said, you know what? This is going to be an exciting time for crypto. I better start, making some videos and letting people know. Hopefully, obviously not financial advice, but maybe they'll look into it further. And yeah, because we had 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. We had divergence there, right? So I was looking for at least a retrace back to the upside, and we got it. We got the retrace, but it was kind of shallow. It wasn't too big, but actually it actually was pretty big because it actually got us back. You can see this was the triangle here. Here's the resistance, right? So we actually got all the way back to the breakdown point, right? Because this is where Theta was consolidating, and that's where we broke down. And that's where we went to. We went to the breakdown area, right? So it's possible that that was the retrace. Because if you look at the fib levels on log scale, we got to the 50 and we almost got to the 618. So maybe that's complete. So if that's complete, then what we have is a rise, crash, all of that's a retrace. And this three-way pullback is going into reaccumulation. Now we go sideways. And then we can go into a massive bull run. Or maybe we don't have to go sideways. But it would be appropriate though, because you have a big wave down, you have a big wave up, a big wave down, a big wave up, a big wave down. We don't want that. Look at XRP, look at the difference. We need this to chill out, right? So you had a big wave up, a big wave up, a big wave down, a big wave up. Also another big wave down, but look what happened. You were chilling. You were just cooling off, right? So we need this. We need the oscillation to sort of cool down, right? If we're going to see anything spectacular. But here's what we do know. We do know we should expect some kind of retrace. So this could be a retrace, right? And then we can kind of start to go sideways like this, right? So maybe we have 3 down, maybe we get 3 up, and then maybe we get 3 back down, and there you go. That's kind of your retrace. Or it could even be a triangle. A, B, C, and then you have D, and then you have E, and then you go up, something like that. I really like that, right? Maybe not a triangle, but it could be 3 down, 3 up, 3 back down, and then you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up. Right? And all of this creates a base. This is what we need. This is what the doctor is ordering here. We need to see things cool off. We need to see this in order to get a big move to the upside. Or there's another alternative, right? Which is the W pattern, the Ethereum model. So let me pull that up. So this is the XRP model, rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, right? So if we look at the Ethereum model, or not even the Ethereum, let's look at Total 3. Total 3, whoops, where's Total 3 at? Right there. So you could see what happened here in Total 3, right? So we had, right? You have the rise, you have the crash. You got the rise, you got the crash. And then you have this. See, this was 5 though. That's the issue. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have a 1, and then you have an A, B, C pullback. That's a 2. But this is only 3. That's the issue that I have with the W model. But let's still say it was. Let's still entertain that fact. Then what we have here is a move up, a move up, and then you have a 3-wave move down, right? Look at this. You got a 3-wave move down. And what happens after that, ladies and gentlemen? You have a massive bull cycle. So that could be the same thing we get, a massive bull cycle all the way up to $40, $50. That could be a 15, 20x move from where we are here, right? So if I go up to, just to get to the all-time high, you're looking at a 15x. But to hit that $40 area, I mean, no, that's more than that. You're looking at, that's a 10x, That's a 10x right there. At $20 is basically almost a 10x, right? So you hit $30. Now you're at what was it? 20x, right? No, $20 is 20x, and then $30 would be 30x, right? So where did this go? Well, let's take a look. If we look at the Ethereum model, or the W pattern model, this went all the way up to the 3.272. Look at that, perfectly on the dot, 3.272. Okay, perfect. Now, let's go over here and let's see where that is on Theta. So the 3.272 on the retrace, let's see where that gets us. So that gets us all the way up to $53. OMG, that's a 50x. That's more like a 55x from where we are. 50 plus, right? So from where we are here, go all the way up to, it was 56, right? Yeah, 56. Yeah, look at that. No, that's a 60x, guys. That's a 60x move. That's 6,000%. If it were gonna follow the Ethereum model. Now, if we go here, how long or how big was that move all the way up? See, this move all the way up was only about a 2,600% move. That's why I'm not convinced that it's going to be that big, right? It's probably not going to hit the 3.272 because of that reason. Whoops. So, but anyway, I'm just showing you what it could potentially. So those are the ideas, right? Those are the two to three ideas. So basically, idea number one, no particular order. We have the W model right here, the W model. So you have that W shape, right? It's really a nice shape. You have a bottom, a double bottom, go. A bottom, but we haven't really got down far enough to really get to that double bottom. So we could, according to this model, we could actually go lower before we get that big W shape, right? That big W shape. And that was a three-way move. That was a three-way move. So that's idea number one, if we're going to be super, super bullish. Idea number two, you're looking at the XRP model, right? Which is something like this, where we push a little bit higher, right? So we have three up, we have three down, we get all the way up here. Then we move down, then we move down, then we go sideways, then we break out. Just like that, right? So we get a three-way move up, then we get, yeah, there we go. Look at that. So we get three waves up, and then we get three waves down, maybe go sideways a little bit, and then go up. So that's the structure that I want to see for Theta. If that other bullish idea isn't going to work out. So no matter what, I think we're going to get a big retrace. So those are the two ideas. The other idea is that we've already retraced. That this was the retrace. This was this point here, was this point here. And then this move down, you can see right there, look at that. We have a three-way move down. Look at this. We have a three-way move down. And then what happened? We went sideways. So if we go sideways and then we break out, then hey, that's so those are the three ideas for Theta and for the market right there. So which one's it going to be? How are we going to know which one it is? Well, that's why you got to hit the subscribe button. Remember, this is not financial advice. I could be totally wrong on my ideas. I could be totally wrong. Just know that. I don't think so, but you know. But yeah, I think they're really good ideas. I think they're very plausible, especially from where we are, right? And I'm just using Theta as an example. It could be Filecoin. There's another one that's a little bit different, right? But it also has an issue, which is it has a triple top. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? We're basically going sideways here. So, but we do have 3 waves up and we have 3 waves down. So I think this could get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves up. You know, something like this. You get a big 1, 2, 3 move up, get back to the retrace levels. This is what I think is going to happen. And then we come back down into reaccumulation. We go sideways a little bit, and then that's when we break out. So then you have a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, breakout. Something like that, right? Or if it's going to be sort of the W model, you kind of can see something like this, but I just don't see it breaking out completely. I think this is a massive chart, right? Just to get back to here, you're talking 20x just to get back to the half point, right? So where we are here, okay, 20x is actually at $64. So that's a 20x move just to get back there, just to get to that area, right? Not even in a breakout, right? So Filecoin is not too much of a good example. Matic, again, you got a 3-way move down. So during that retrace, we should get a move back up here, which would be right around here, right around that dollar area, right? And then if we can flag out all summer, and then October, November, December, we get that final move, that's one way to look at it. Or if it's going to end as fast as BCB thinks, and others, not just him, but others, like for example, XLM, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you get 5, and then it's over, it's done. So we have one big wave up for the rest of the market. And then you can also have that W here. So you also have this W pattern, but it's in the shape of a rise, crash, retrace. So in conclusion, I think we're going to get the wave up. And from there, like, let's take a look around here. Like Algorand, all right? I don't think Algorand is going to break out into new all-time highs. I think what it would do, because the problem with Algorand is you have 3 waves up, right? So you would kind of need 1, 2, 3 waves down, and then you would get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up like that. And then you would come down into reaccumulation, and then you would go sideways, and then you would finally break out. So look at all that. That's a big drawing. Don't look at disregard the timeline down there. I'm not saying it's going to take that long, but as far as the structure goes, that's kind of what we would want to look for. Unless this is a 1, 2, and this is another 1, 2, and then we pop up here for a 5. It could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It could be a diagonal with a 3-way pullback, and that could be your reaccumulation there and then breakout, right? Or if this is a 1, 2, 1, 2, the most bullish, this would be a wave 3. You flag out in the retracement level. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, flag out for a wave 4 in the retrace levels, then get wave 5, right? But it really is going to depend on, how fast XRP finishes, how fast Bitcoin is finished. Because Bitcoin, problem is you don't have time. You got 1, 2, 3, you got 5 waves. So I don't really see, you could have one, this could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 5th could have one more wave, the 5th wave, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we get 5. So we could have one more wave. So XRP has one more wave. XLM has one. XRP, XLM, Bitcoin, right? Then what happens after that, right? Because the rest of the market hasn't been in a bull market. So what is it going to do? Is it just going to continue the bear market? Well, obviously, right? So like if we go to SHIB real quick again, you can see. It's got a really nice structure too. I really like the way SHIB looks. You got a nice base at the end here. You got 3 waves up, you got 3 waves down. It's a really nice 3-wave shape, right? So this could easily just blast off and actually take the top here, right? In a 5-wave move. And then that would be the end of the wave, right? And then you would have to come down. And then that's when the Bitcoin bear market would start. But that would be, depending if we break the high, maybe not. But that would also mean that SHIB hasn't even been in a bear market. It just went into a retrace. And now at the top of the retrace level, that's the end of the Bitcoin. See, it kind of gets confusing. It was very simple back in 2017, right? When that run up, because everything was together. In 2021, it was the same thing. We were kind of more following together. But now, 2025, there's a lot of things that are over there. Some things are over here, right? So there's differences. So it's a lot more challenging to kind of put things together because it all has to make sense and it all has to be correlated with Bitcoin to some extent, right? Now, if Bitcoin, let's put Bitcoin on here. So if we look at Bitcoin, you can see right here that if we get one more wave up, right, boom, and we are starting the bear market, we have a big crash. Well, guess what? We still need a big retrace. We're going to need this retrace. So in that retrace, that could give us 2 extra waves, right? Because we're already expecting 1 wave to the upside, but we could get 2 waves to the upside, all right, because of the retrace. Because if you look at Bitcoin back in the day here, it wasn't until, like if you look at Theta blasted off only when Bitcoin was at the top. But if Bitcoin isn't at the top yet, maybe that's why, right? Because Bitcoin still needs another wave to the upside. So let's say we get that extra wave, for Bitcoin. We have a 3-way pullback here. So if we get that extra wave and we can hit 120, 130, 140, right? That could put us up back to the top of the retrace level. Okay, now watch this. Look at this, guys. Then we get the big crash. Now this is the top of the bull market. Now here's the bear market. Crash, crash, crash. But then what happens? Then we flag out, right? We also crash for SHIB. We come down, 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 down. But then what happens is then we get a retrace. And then during the retrace, that's when we can get a really big move back to the top here. And then making it a 3-wave move, right? And then I love that. I really like that. And then that's when the bear markets, or that's when we go into reaccumulation for SHIB, right? So let me actually come over here, right? So Bitcoin, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So Bitcoin makes its 5th wave, right? And then that's when SHIB comes up into the retrace levels. Then it crashes, the beginning. That's the first crash in the market. That's when SHIB also comes down pretty hard, right? And then that's when Bitcoin makes a retrace, but then that's when SHIB actually breaks out. That's when we get the alt season, because you have to also look at Bitcoin dominance, right? That's what you have to look at, Bitcoin dominance as well, because if Bitcoin dominance is high, right? It's at the 702. We haven't had an alt season yet, right? So I think with the stablecoin bill, with regulation, XRP ETF, going to open the door for other ETFs. I mean, there's a lot to look forward to, but there's also a lot of concern, right, with the stock market, recession, tariffs, economy, unemployment, inflation, all that stuff can weigh heavy on the price. But I think overall, at the end of the day, towards maybe not this year, maybe it takes a little bit, but I think we're going to get a massive run during Trump's presidency. It's just bound to happen, right? The tricky part is, you know, trying to figure that out. But I think this is a good one here. So yeah, as Bitcoin gets that fifth wave, that's when we hit the retrace. Bitcoin crashes, that's when we also come down. But then once Bitcoin makes a retrace, right, it's going to keep crashing down. But during this retrace, that's when we have the top. That's when we get this move up, right? And then it can either break out, it can go a lot higher, or so then once we get here, once we start crashing, that's when we come down into reaccumulation, and that's when we go sideways, and then we break out another day. So then we have a rise, crash, then we have a three-way move up for a retrace, then we come down into reaccumulation, then we go sideways, then we break out. I like it. I like it a lot. So definitely I'm going to bookmark this video because I think these are pretty good ideas, because it's all trying to it's not just looking at one chart and saying, okay, it's going to do that. It's trying to look at all the charts and put it together to see, okay, if this does this, then this chart will do this. And if Bitcoin does that, then this is, you know what I mean? And it's really, really challenging. It's not just looking at, you know, Coca-Cola stock or Amazon stock, and it's just trading how it trades. This is like putting all the puzzle pieces together. But one thing I really, 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 really like about all of this is the move down, right? Because we basically had a 9 sell here on the 10-day chart. So this, I love this. This is a beautiful three-wave move, right? So we have kind of an impulse here, and we have this beautiful three-way pullback. Now, could you make the case, what if this is a dyad? What if this is 1, 2, and then we have 3, 4, and then 5? As long as the third isn't the smallest, I don't think it is, right? Could be kind of like a diagonal here, and then you get a three-way pullback. I mean, this three-way pullback is perfect, right? So we want to create a little bit of a base, and we want to start making our way into the retrace levels. And then once we get there, that's when it's going to be the most challenging, because at that point, it's like, well, okay, if Bitcoin finishes its fifth wave, then this can kind of come down, flag out, and then break out. I mean, there's a lot of different things that can play out, but the way I worded it before is probably, in my opinion, the most I would imagine. So, all right, now let's go to XRP. So the small time frames, really nothing there, except, you know, we're flagging out here, right? We have this ABC for a flat. That's an expanded flat. And we also have, this could be a wave 1, this move up, and then we have this three-wave pullback, or 3 waves down, then we have 3 waves up, and then we have 3 waves back down. So we have a 1, WXY for a 2, and this could be a 1, and now we're flagging out here for a 2, kind of go sideways a little bit, and then go up for that third wave, breaking above the flag and going up into that fifth wave. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then once we get there, right? Once we get there, then it's probably, there's 2 options. Option 1, we flag out all summer, and then we go hit the high October, November, December for that mid-cycle. Or it ends here, we crash, and then as we make the retrace, some of the altcoins that didn't really get to catch up, maybe that's when they have their extra wave back to the top here. Like, you know, I'm still thinking ADA also has another move up, but I think that's pretty much it. Now, the 2 other ones are Litecoin and Monero you have to look out for, because they also have really good structures, right? Because they did the work. They did the work. While the rest of the market was out partying and drinking and having a good time, XRP, XLM, XMR, and LTC were all out just having a good time chilling at home, right? So they're not hungover, they're still healthy, right? So they've been resting. They've been going sideways for a long time. And then Litecoin had a big move up. It had a three-way pullback, right? Let me look at the big chart here. Let's go to LTC, the Coinbase chart. Let's look at the Coinbase chart. The big enchilada. Got to go up to the 5-day just to even look at it, right? And then we're going to couple that with XMR. And I guess I can look at the market cap because it doesn't matter. There we go. Okay, so these are pretty much in the same camp, right? You have this is what we want to see ADA look like. This is what we want to see Algo look like. This is what we want to see Theta and SHIB look like. That's what I'm saying. See, this is probably where we are when it comes to Theta, right? Or even other ones out there, or SHIB. You see this big move here? That's this move here, right? Okay, that move is coming for ADA or for Theta, and then once we get, and then look at that, it got all the way back to the top. 1, 2, right? So if I look really quickly at, now I go back to Theta, right? And I look at that for a second. See what I mean? So this is another, so you have this move here, right? That's that move there. Then you have a three-way pullback, Then look what happens. You have this massive move up. That's what I think's happening. Then you get a massive move up back to the top. But guess what? That still outbeats XRP. XRP's only got 400, maybe 250 to 350 to 400% left. But Theta, just to get back to $8, $9, $10, that's at least 600%. So it's, in reality, it's got more percentages, but it's still not at the price. It still isn't out. It's not, even though it has more percentages, it's probably not going to be as exciting because it's not in price discovery like XRP. XRP is going to be hitting new records, record after record, right? This is not going to be a new record for Theta, but who cares about records? It's all about money. It's all about percentages, right? The price means nothing. The structure means everything, right? The percentages and the structure are what matter. But too many people are focused on the price and the sentiment versus the structure and the percentages, okay? So then you come all the way down in 3, and then once we get up here, so if Bitcoin has that final wave, right? XRP has that final wave. Theta comes back up here. That's when it comes down. Then XRP, Bitcoin are in full-on bear markets. That's the beginning of the bear market. Then that's when they start to come down. And that's also when Theta comes down. But Theta isn't going down in a bear market. Theta is going down into reaccumulation because it's never been in a bull market to begin with. It's always been in a bear market. So then it comes down, and then it chills out a little bit, and then once this time has passed, that's when Bitcoin can make a retrace or XRP or whatever, and then that's when you can get a big move up, right? So you have a rise, crash, 3-wave retrace, come down into reaccumulation, then go sideways, then break out. So you have all this additional structure. Now I can draw a box. You see my base? Now it actually looks like a legit base versus looking like that, right? I need more structure here, okay? So it's coming. We just have to wait. But I think it'll be coming soon. So anyways, I'm going to wrap it up there. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Maybe you can, I think this video was pretty good. I mean, I laid out some really good ideas. Looking at the market overall. So if you can even share the video, that would also help too. But yeah, definitely drop a like and a comment. Let me know what you think. Remember, it's not financial advice. We're just trying to explore ideas. We're trying to figure it out, right? And I think there's some pretty good stuff there. So, anyways, I will catch you guys on the next one. Let's see how this week folds. And by the way, the weekly close.